Hi everybody, I'm Stephen Levine from NASCAR Illustrated, sitting here on the banks of the Yadkin River with Mr. Richard Childress. This is a lovely spot you have here.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I've been down here with a few drivers when I need to sit down and talk to them in a good, quiet atmosphere.
Believe it or not, I want to start by talking about the early days of your driving career, because I didn't realize until very recently that you got your first start as a replacement driver during the 1969 Talladega drivers' strike. How did you come to get behind the wheel in that race?
Prior to that, I started out with a $20 race car and started over at Bowman Gray Stadium racing what they called the 99 Claiming Division. And then I decided that I wanted to go racing full-time, make a living at it, which was very tough in the early years. We were at Talladega in 1969, and the drivers boycotted, and Bill France Sr. came around and offered each one of us a pretty good bit of money back in those days, and I'd won some money on Saturday, and they paid us to come and race on Saturday in the Grand American race. And then we raced Sunday and got some good money out of that deal, so I left there with, I don't know, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, more money than I'd ever seen at one time in my life. I said, man, I probably won't never have to work again, but was I wrong?
But it allowed you to keep racing. And when the regular drivers came back, was there any sort of tension between those of y'all who stepped in and the regular drivers who were boycotting?
There was a couple of guys that had a few problems with it, but not really. Bill Sr. made it very clear that he was going to race that day. He actually got in the car and went out there and practiced it, and Tiny Lund ended up driving his car. And but with the show went on, and I took that money and came back home and bought a little piece of land and built my first race shop, and started doing work for the public and racing. And so that was a big break for me back in those days. It sort of jump-started our career, I guess you may say.
Let's fast forward a little bit to 1981. Famous decision of yours to step out from behind the wheel of the car and go into ownership and put Dale Earnhardt behind the wheel. Was that a decision that you struggled with, giving up your career as a driver and moving into ownership? It
was, and I still struggle with it today, but it was the best decision I ever made. I look back at it, and the reason was, in about '79, a lot of money people started coming into the sport, and I could see it was more and more teams. When I was racing and really having some pretty good years, there were 4 or 5 teams you had to race. And then here come MC Anderson, Harry Ranier, J.D. Stacy, that group of owners right there, and Warner Hodgson. All those guys came in and brought more money to the sport, and they would move the independent drivers that we were back a little each time. And I wasn't happy running further back, and you know, I could get a lot of top 10s and some top 5s, and then it was you were 10th to 15th, and I said, I got to change. And opportunity came along in Anniston, Alabama at the Talladega race, and put the deal together with Dale, and the rest of it's history.